When it comes to cooking outdoors, I'm probably as comfortable as most people are. And that's because grilling is usually as simple as taking a piece of chicken or steak or a box of sausages and tossing it on the grill. But what if you were to try cooking with the whole animal? It's just not that simple. So how does one cook a whole animal over an open fire? I have no idea. But fortunately my friend Chris Norris does, and this morning I'm going to go over to his house where he will demonstrate how to prepare and cook a lamb. Here is Chris. Hello, Chris.
Hi, hello.
And this is the lamb.
The lamb.
Yes.
And yes, shipped here and frozen, and it's thawed out, and we're all ready to cook. So the first thing we have to do is to unwrap it. So.
Do you know how much this baby weighs?
This is about 25 to 30 pounds, something like. My guess is nearer 30 because it certainly was extremely heavy when I had to carry it out here. It was a bit unfortunate with these things with the neighbours because you do look a bit suspicious in the early hours of the morning carrying something vaguely body-shaped out to the backyard, into the garage. To give you a brief anatomy lesson, we want to lay this lamb flat in order to cook it. Some people spit these things and they just stick a spit through and turn them around. But in this particular case, what we're going to do is lay it flat on this rack. But in order to make it go flat, we have to cut through various bits of the animal. This is a bit like a gross anatomy class, but basically we need to cut through its pelvis, which is down here. And then up here is kind of stiff as well, so we may have to cut into the spine there just to make it flatten a little bit. So. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's the pelvis gone. Isn't surgery easy when you've got Black & Decker? And then, no, this could be a little more tricky. I'm going to try. Actually, I don't really want to cut through the spine because there's all sorts of goober in there that I don't want to deal with. So let me cut. So what you do, or what we're doing, is we're putting on something that's really quite simple. This is just a mixture of, it's a mixture of salt, and kosher salt of course, for good cooking purposes, and salt and garlic, chopped up garlic. There's about a clove of garlic in there, and some mixed peppers. And we're just going to rub this across the surface of the lamb. In a moment I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. Now you may wonder where we got this elaborate piece of medieval torture equipment from, and the answer is that we actually built it ourselves, me and a friend of mine. It's made out of things that you can get from any hardware store or from somewhere like Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever, and basically what you got here is rebar, which is the stuff they put into reinforced concrete to reinforce it, these metal strips here. And you've got aluminum conduit, and you've got wire, basically. The thing is wired together. And what we're going to do is truss this animal down between this top and bottom portion here, and use wire to hold it in place. That means that we can lift it up in one piece and flip it over as we cook it to make sure that it gets cooked evenly. Okay, so these are chimneys. They are things that help you get your barbecue lit more quickly, and these you can just get from any hardware store. And you basically, what you do is you stack your charcoal up in the chimney, you put newspaper in underneath, you light them, the heat and the flames go up, and it just speeds up the process of getting the charcoal up to temperature. You need to be very careful around fire, folks. Remember, fire can burn.
Remember Dresden.
Remember Dresden, remember Tokyo, remember all those bad fire-related incidents of history.
But we'll be using some of the same principles here to get the fire going, and
that's right. That's right. Although generally speaking, I tend to find that dwelling upon firestorms and mass fatalities during time of war tends to put you off your lamb a little bit. So and we'll set fire to the coals. It's a sense of
Ba ba black sheep, have you any wool?
So I said before, this is as much about smoke as it is about flame. So what we need to do is make some aromatic smoke, and we're going to have a little bit of steam from the herbs that I've put in there. But these are soaked applewood chips, lovely fragrant chips of applewood. Fragrant hardwoods like apple and cherry are really great for this sort of cooking. And what we're going to do is we're just going to sprinkle these guys onto the fire where they will smoke. And over the course of this cook, we're going to keep adding wood chips to the flame. Keep adding coals to the flames as well. The lamb will take up that flavour, and what we'll get is hopefully a lovely mix of flavours. So this has been sitting for some days in my fridge. It is a mixture of olive oil and balsamic vinegar and rosemary and oregano and thyme and garlic and fresh lemons and black peppercorns. And it's what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to paint this onto the surface of the lamb. Okay, so we've already dry rubbed it, and now what we're going to do is we're going to paint it with this mix here. We'll probably replace that piece of foil because actually I managed to punch through it as well, not very sensibly. Here we go. I'm going to lift that up. And then, one last piece to go the whole length. This is the big unveiling. It has been a long time since 7 o'clock this morning, but here we are. All right, off and onto the table, and we'll get wire cutters and cut the top rack off. Oh, it's done. Oh, it's done.
It is.
Oh, yes, it's done.
So now the question is, how'd it turn out? Not bad. Not bad, Larry the Lamb. You did not die in vain. You know, Chris, not to be too ghoulish, but I suppose you could get rid of a body this way, couldn't you?
I'm not going to comment on that. I was nowhere near the guy. I never saw him. I was in quite another part of the country, and no, I have nothing to do with that. No comment. Turn that camera on.